In the 16th century, a group of Ottoman diplomats embarked on a journey to the Netherlands. Among the treasures they carried was a unique and enchanting flower known as the tulip. Little did they know that this humble blossom would soon take the world by storm and set the stage for the greatest and strangest economic phenomenon the world has ever seen then. Welcome to Economic Rhapsody, the channel that discovers history to understand the future. And today, I'm excited to explore the most bizarre financial bubble in world history, the Tulip Mania Bubble. So make sure to subscribe to support the channel and for more fascinating economic events from history, and let's get started. During the 17th century, the Netherlands experienced an extraordinary era known as the Dutch Golden Age. This period marked a peak of economic prosperity and cultural development for the nation. The Dutch, with their powerful navy and vast network of colonies and trade routes, became a dominant force in global trade, controlling commerce and gaining enormous wealth. Their ships sailed across the seas, connecting continents and bringing treasures from far-off lands to Dutch ports. This dominance over world trade took the Netherlands to remarkable heights of economic power and influence. The wealth accumulated during the Dutch Golden Age led to the development of a sophisticated and tasteful culture. The Netherlands became a hub of innovation, attracting intellectuals, artists, and scientists from all corners of the world. Painters like Rembrandt and philosophers like Descartes and Spinoza are just a few examples of this cultural wealth. Within this flourishing society, the tulip emerged to be a symbol of luxury and extravagance. Introduced to the country by the botanist Carolus Clusius in the late 16th century, tulips quickly captured the hearts and imaginations of the Dutch people. These vibrant and exotic flowers, with their striking colors and patterns, became highly craved. The tulip's beauty and rarity made it an object of desire for the wealthy elite, who saw it as a status symbol that showcased their wealth and fine taste. As the demand for tulips grew, so did the emergence of a speculative market around these flowers. Tulips were no longer just objects of admiration in gardens, they became highly sought-after commodities. The market for tulips expanded rapidly, with stores and marketplaces bustling with traders and enthusiasts. Specialized exchanges were established to facilitate the buying and selling of tulip bulbs, further fueling the speculative passion. The value of tulip bulbs soared to extraordinary levels, reaching a point where a single bulb could have the same price as a grand house or even a mansion. Wait, what did I just say? Let's take a moment of calculations. In the 17th century, a grand luxury villa was valued at around 15,000 guilders. The average yearly salary, however, was around 250 guilders. Simple math will show that such a house was equal to 60 years of work. Can you imagine working 60 years without spending a dime just to buy a flower? This is so crazy. And by the way, in our days, the average Dutch would need to work 97 years in order to buy the same house. Yeah, inflation is growing faster than income. The allure of potential wealth drew people from all walks of life into the tulip market. Merchants, craftsmen, and even ordinary people eagerly entered the world of speculative trading, hoping to capitalize on the tulip mania. You know, I think I'll use parts of this script for a future video on the rise of cryptocurrencies. It's amazing how trading a single flower bulb for a luxury house 400 years ago can be compared to people exchanging a line of code for a similar house today. Economics can be strange, and history is repeating itself once again. Subscribe to the channel now and wait 20 years for the crypto rise to become history to watch my episode on this curious economic event. Anyway, let's get back to our story. The rapid increase in tulip bulb values was influenced by multiple factors. Firstly, tulips had a unique growth pattern which required significant time and effort. It could take several years for a bulb to grow into a fully bloomed flower, and some varieties were particularly challenging to breed. This inherent lack of tulips only increased their desirability and pushed the prices up. Secondly, the concept of futures contracts emerged, allowing traders to speculate on the future price of bulbs. These financial instruments added an additional layer of complexity and excitement to the market, fueling speculation and driving prices even higher. Let's take a moment to clarify the term futures contracts. Futures contracts are financial agreements to buy or sell assets at a predetermined price and date, allowing investors to speculate on price movements and manage risk. They were officially invented in the mid-19th century by commodity traders in Chicago. However, there is evidence dating back 4,000 years showing that Babylonians and Phoenicians engaged in similar contracts to mitigate risks in agriculture and trade. Some even argue that the earliest example of a futures contract can be found in the book of Genesis, in the story of Jacob's agreement with Laban. The tulip mania became a social phenomenon, captivating the public's attention and spreading across all parts of society. People were fascinated by discussions of tulip prices, and the allure of quick wealth drew many to participate in speculative trading. As the market frenzy escalated, prices soared to unbelievable heights, and fortunes were made and lost within a matter of days. In 2008, Diego Maradona's daughter became pregnant by Sergio Aguero, another Argentinian football star. Atletico Madrid, his team, was publicly flirting with the odd idea of signing the baby for a long-term contract, even before he was born. They were thinking that the boy's genetics would ensure his talent, making it the deal of the century. And I'm thinking, how strange is betting on DNA? I was sure that only 17th century Dutch people can get to such bizarre areas. The tulip market operated in a truly distinctive manner compared to other markets of its time. It was a market where tulip bulbs were traded even before they bloomed. People were not just buying flowers, they were investing in the potential beauty and value that lay within those bulbs. Same logic of our Spanish football club from Madrid. Buyers and sellers engaged in contracts that allowed them to secure tulip bulbs at a predetermined price. These contracts played a vital role in fueling speculation and driving prices to unimaginable heights. When a buyer wanted to acquire a tulip bulb, they would enter into a contract with the seller. The contract specified the quantity and quality of bulbs to be delivered in the future, often at the peak of the tulip's growth cycle. In essence, buyers were placing bets on the bulb's future value, even before they could fully appreciate their beauty. The use of contracts introduced an element of risk management and price stability in the tulip market. Buyers could secure their tulip bulbs at a fixed price, safeguarding themselves against potential price increases. Likewise, sellers could lock in their profits by committing to sell at a predetermined price, protecting themselves from possible price decreases. These contracts were not limited to the exchange of physical tulip bulbs. They were tradable instruments themselves. It may sound strange, but it's amazing to see how these guys were actually 300 years ahead of their time. They were essentially trading futures contracts, just like how it's done in the last 100 years. In other words, buyers and sellers could buy, sell, or trade these contracts without actually needing to possess the physical tulip bulbs. It added a whole new level of complexity and excitement to the market. They were eventually buying and selling the potential future value of the tulips, rather than the tulips themselves. So, even back then, they were engaging in a trading practice that would become a common phenomenon in the future. This innovation opened up a whole new dimension of speculation. Traders could enter into contracts for tulip bulbs that hadn't even sprouted yet, hoping to sell those contracts at a higher price before the tulips bloomed. It was a market built on anticipation and the perception of future value. As more people entered the tulip trade, the frenzy intensified. Contracts for tulip bulbs became hot commodities, changing hands rapidly as speculators sought to profit from the rising prices. The allure of making a quick fortune was irresistible, and the market seemed to know no bounds. The role of contracts in driving speculation cannot be overstated. They created an environment where buyers and sellers could bet on the future value of tulips, leveraging the potential for enormous profits. The tulip market transformed into a frenetic arena of financial transactions, with fortunes being made and lost in the blink of an eye. As the tulip mania reached its peak, the prices of tulip bulbs soared to astronomical levels. It was a period of outstanding speculation and extravagant transactions that defied rationality. Tulip prices reached such extraordinary heights that they became loose from any reasonable valuation. People were willing to exchange their entire fortunes for a single tulip bulb. It sounds absurd, but eventually, this is how financial bubbles work.
I'll give you my penthouse in Dam Square, 20 gold coins, and 2 horses for that tulip bulb. Do I look stupid to you? The apartment, 30 gold coins, 5 horses, and your wife. Deal.
Let's say that if something was exaggerated here is only the wife added to that deal. Many stories of astonishing transactions took place during this time. It was said that a prosperous merchant sold 12 acres of land, along with livestock and other valuable assets, just to acquire a rare Viceroy tulip bulb. Imagine parting ways with your entire capital for a single flower. People got crazy. It felt like tulip bulbs almost become a currency by themselves.
Introducing Tulip Coin. now traded on all leading exchange platforms.
The tulip market had become a breeding ground for irrational behavior and unchecked speculation. Prices seemed to have no limits, and the madness grew with each passing day. Speculators, driven by FOMO, were willing to pay ridiculous amounts for tulip bulbs, even if it meant mortgaging their homes or going into debt. The market had turned into a big casino full of irrational zombies. FOMO, fear of missing out, a known economic sentiment that fuels financial bubbles. The psychology behind the Tulip Mania Bubble was fascinating. People were driven by the hope of immense profits, fueled by the success stories of those who had made fortunes by trading tulips. Just like your best friend's cousin who bought 50 bitcoins in 2012. The Tulip Mania had reached unprecedented heights, with prices soaring to astronomical levels. But like all bubbles, the tulip market was destined to burst, sending shockwaves through the tulip market and the Dutch economy. The collapse of the Tulip Mania bubble was triggered by a series of events that exposed the fragile foundation on which the market was built. One of the main catalysts was a sudden realization among traders and investors that the tulip bulbs that they had purchased at absurd prices were only flowers. Yes, flowers. How genius! The excitement and frenzy surrounding the tulips had clouded their judgment, and when reality hit, panic arrived. Traders who sensed the impending doom began selling their tulip bulbs, taking profits and distancing themselves from the inevitable crash. As word spread, more and more people rushed to sell, fearing that they would be left holding worthless bulbs. The market was flooded with tulips, and the supply-demand dynamics shifted dramatically. The panic selling sent shockwaves through the tulip market. Prices plummeted with exceptional speed, and the tulip bulbs that had been valued as highly as mansions became practically worthless overnight. It was a shocking and brutal awakening for those who had invested their lives in the Tulip Mania. Bankruptcies and financial ruin became an unfortunate reality for many speculators. Those who had borrowed heavily to finance their tulip investments found themselves drowning in debt as the bubble burst. Families that had bet their entire estates on tulips suddenly faced poverty. The consequences were severe and far-reaching, reverberating beyond the tulip market. The burst of the Tulip Mania bubble shook the Dutch economy to its core. The rapid collapse of the tulip market created a wave of economic instability. Banks and businesses that had fueled the speculative fever suffered significant losses. The once prosperous traders found themselves in ruins as their fortunes evaporated overnight. The financial landscape of the Netherlands was in shambles, with the aftermath of the Tulip Mania leaving scars that would take years to heal. Yet, the bursting of the bubble was not just an economic disaster, it was a profound lesson in the nature of speculative frenzies. It served as a stark reminder of the dangers of irrational exuberance and unchecked speculation. The Tulip Mania became a warning symbol, etching its mark in history and providing valuable insights into the dynamics of financial bubbles. As we reflect on the Tulip Mania and its aftermath, we are reminded of the delicate balance between greed and reason, between the pursuit of wealth and the consequences of unchecked speculation. The Dutch Golden Age, with all its prosperity and cultural richness, had been tarnished by the folly of the Tulip Mania. But it also served as a testament to the resilience and ability of a society to learn from its mistakes and rebuild. The Dutch would rise from the ashes, learning from the mistakes of the past, and forging a path towards a more stable and prosperous future. The legacy of the Tulip Mania would endure as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most alluring and captivating dreams can crumble when built on a foundation of speculation. And so, the Dutch people would carry the lessons of the Tulip Mania with them, passing them down through generations. They would become a nation known for their pragmatism, their calculated approach to economics, and their resilience in the face of financial storms that makes them one of the most successful economies in our days. That's it for today. Important to mention that there are several approaches in the research about the Tulip Mania and what really happened there. I was delivering the mainstream approach, and I hope you enjoyed this unbelievable story, which in my opinion is the strangest financial bubble in the history of economics. If you liked it, tell your friends. And if not, tell me. I invite you to subscribe, share, like, and mostly comment with your thoughts, ideas, fact corrections, and economic events from history that you'd like me to explore together with you. Economic Rhapsody. See you soon.